If you don't mind, like, just be honest about, like, are you concerned that the limitations, I guess the social limitations of lockdown and everything is taking a huge toll on the Black community and our mental health? Like, already we have a lot working against us, and through lockdown, like, what do you, is there anything you're concerned about in terms of how you are able to engage with, these young men? Like, what's your fear at this time?
I guess this is another really, really, really weird one, because I think Black people were making moves. Lockdown hampered that, just like lockdown hampered everything for everyone. But of course, it's more important for me to see the Black community thriving because of where we've come from, and I'm more engrossed in that, basically. But for everybody, let's talk about it for everybody.
Yeah, for everyone. Yeah.
It's been difficult. And then I think when it comes to the Black community, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if this would have happened if there was no COVID-19. But the whole Black Lives Matter movement, I think for all of us Black people, and for the Black people that I'm speaking to, that's been bigger than the whole COVID-19 situation.
True.
Like that whole Black Lives Matter situation, like it was really stressful, but then it was like really enlightening at the same time. And it's like a bunch of things have stemmed from that, which have put us in a better position. Still 100% a long way to go, but it's like it kind of let every Black person know, like, listen, we're all in this fight, and we got to overcompensate for each other. That's why you're getting things like the Black Pound Day and everything. I don't know how lockdown has perpetuated that. I don't know if it would have been even more fulfilling or even more enlightening if there was no lockdown, or whether it just wouldn't have happened if there was no COVID-19. Like, because this has never happened before, and it's like,
it's true. Yeah, I've been theorizing as well. Like, I just feel like COVID and everything that's been happening, like, I don't know. It seems like people are just getting worn out, and we're forced in a position where humanity has to come to the forefront.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's true vulnerability is being revealed, and it's like, we don't want to be fake anymore. Like, we're all struggling. We're realizing we need each other, I guess. So I guess there's a sort of human element to it.
Yeah. A lot of the psychologists will say all of the things that have been happening in the last few months, like just everything, is just the build-up of us being locked indoors and reacting to the whole COVID-19 situation as a planet. Like, it's never been like this. Like, it's never ever been like this in our time. Like, where we're all reacting to the same thing as a planet. And the things going on across the world, all of the protests going on across the world are a reaction to that. Like, people being locked in their house so much that there was just like a build-up and then a burst, basically. Like, it was like all you needed was the lockdown, and then everything kind of overspilled. But like, I think the Black community will be all right. Like, I think the whole Black Lives Matter thing was a really, really good thing that kind of needed to happen. Of course, many people lost their lives, and that's never going to be a good thing. But as a community, like, we needed this. We need things like the Black Pound Day. We even need to do more. Like, I don't want us to get tired. I know it's really taxing, like, protesting online or physically all the time and talking about it all the time, but we need this. And it's like people now want to be in Black spaces even more than before. Like, people are talking about like Black banks and like Black owns this and Black owns that, and I think that's beautiful, because that's basically what we need. Like, we've needed that for a while, just so we feel comfortable. And again, it's about that mental tax. Like, when you're not in these spaces, you feel like you're acting and you feel like you don't belong there. So we have to create these spaces where we do feel comfortable, because that's only going to help our well-being in the long term.
Definitely. And just to add on just to what's happening, everything, like, still like 151 days since Rihanna was killed. Still nothing. It's only one of the officers that have been sacked, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I've just run out of words, man. I mean, this is nothing new, right? We've been stressed. We've been wondering, like, are things ever going to change? Do you ever get tired of just talking about race?
Yeah, like I said, it's got to be taxing for everyone. Like, excess of anything is bad for you. And with race, there's a lot of trauma attached to even just the word. Like, so like, yeah, it does get stressful, and it always seems like when we are talking about it, if we're having serious conversations, it's coming from the conversations are actually negative, and that can't be helpful. I'm not trying to reinforce that. That's why I just love Black positivity. Like, black, like I'm so glad that like as a race we're like very funny, and we get through things with humor, because that's needed. If we didn't have that, then it would just be all trauma, all negativity. Yeah, we need to overcompensate with the humor and the positivity, man, because like, again, because of what we've been through with slavery and just like the way we're being treated, you're always going to have a huge abundance of negativity there. So we need to kind of balance it out, just so we can get through life and say we've had a good life rather than a bad life, or we're happy more days than we're sad. You're always going to get both, but like try to make the happy days much more frequent than the sad days.
So that links really well to what I want to talk about next, which is Pass the Meerkat, right? So your idea behind that, how that all stemmed. I know I've heard you talk about it, but just for the sake of the listeners to this podcast, go through what Pass the Meerkat is first and foremost, how that came about, and kind of the journey up until this point with that.
Pass the Meerkat is an animated web series. It came about because I'm going to try to get a bit more in depth than maybe I've done in other interviews, or say a few things that I haven't said. It came about really because like I just knew, like, I love making people laugh. Like, I absolutely love it. Like, I'm one of these funny people that aren't just funny. Like, I'm a comedian funny. So it's like you can see that I'm trying to make I'm telling the joke on purposefully to get a reaction from you, not just like, you're funny because you're doing something or whatever. No, like, I try to be funny. So I love making people laugh. Again, this kind of goes with my whole notion of like, I think laughter is just like really short bursts of happiness, like for like a few seconds, or like a minute or something. And I think for that moment you're laughing, you forget about everything else that's going on. So try to fill up your life with laughter. Just like I said, try to fill up your life with good days rather than bad days. Try to fill up your good days or your days with as much laughter as possible. That's like my whole notion throughout life. So it's like I really do feel good when I'm laughing, and I feel good when I'm making other people laugh, especially people that I love. So that dynamic was kind of frequent in my group chat. Like, we love busting jokes, we love teasing each other, we love just laughing, having a good time. I remember we went to Croatia, and it was just like, it was a beautiful experience, like Fresh Island, like not because of like the normal party holiday stories, but just because we had a villa, and like the time we spent in the villa together, just the lads, and the jokes we had, like unrivaled, absolutely amazing. And then it was just like, I sat down and I felt to myself like, some way, somehow, this enjoyment, this content that we have in the group, this laughter needs to be made into content. It needs to be made into a piece of content. And then me and my housemate were watching Sheikh, who's on the show. We were watching the Ricky Gervais show, and I was just like, why can't we do this? I'm another person that's like, I could have made a podcast, and that would have cost me a lot less money, been a lot simpler to do, and it would have gone with the tide. Like, everybody's got a podcast now, so it's like you can go with the tide, a lot less pressure and whatever. But I'm somebody that I just want to do things different, and I just want the content to be tip-top shape. Like, it needed to be tip-top shape and just unique. So I was watching the Ricky Gervais show, and I was thinking, can we do this? And then, like, yeah, we hashed out like the logistics of it. And then I pitched it to my boys. I was like, yo, let's do this. Like, I think they trusted me to take care of a lot of the work that wouldn't have been able to happen if I wasn't in the crew. So like the audio, for instance, like it just wouldn't have been able to run. But it's like we can cut a lot of corners because of what we had in-house.
Yeah. And so the beautiful thing about animation, right, is that the visuals carry a lot of it. So me, as someone who studied animation, like the combination between animation and sound is powerful. You can have the audio saying one thing, and it might even come from an ugly situation or whatnot, but then the visuals can add a whole new life to it. Create your own world. You express, your emotions in a powerful way that the camera cannot. So for me, as a black creative, I love the form of animation, and yeah, I'll get more into my perspective of it, but I'll let you carry on. So
Yeah.
yeah, like how did you like find an animator for it? Like who was behind
Yeah. Like, so once we had all the content, we knew we just needed an anime, and we had kind of done some light looking around on like people per hour and Fiverr and stuff. And it was really hard to find one. Like, it was really hard to find one that was going to be at the standard that we wanted it to be.
and someone who gets you guys as well? Like
Yeah. So we were proper hoping for Ricky Gervais level of animation, which is pretty basic on it's advanced, don't get me twisted, but pretty basic on the scale of animation. Like, it's not Pixar. Like, with the Ricky Gervais show, they still kept it pretty basic. Like, so we were looking for that kind of level, and we thought that was possible, but it was so hard until one day, I think one of the members, Bangs, he did like a tweet, or he did like a Twitter search or whatever, and he contacted a bunch of people. And then we actually found this guy, Calvin. And yeah, he was from London, which was amazing. We met with another guy, but his price was a bit too high. And then we found this guy, Calvin. He was just like he's so good. Like, he dropped out of uni to pursue it.
Wow.
And like, yeah, he's just amazing. And again, he just gets it. We give him minute by minute direction about what we want on screen, but he adds a lot of creativity into it as well.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. That's why I just believe in God, because like us finding him and him finding us had to be from God, because like we were searching for like a good 3 months for an animator until we came across him. Wow. And when we came across him, it was just like, yeah, this is it. Like, this is it. The price was sweet. Animation is expensive, but he gave us
a
price.
I'm looking forward to charging people when I get started in the industry.
You'll make a killing, man. You'll make a killing. But yeah, that was it. Like, once we found him, we just knew it was him. We got the pilot back, and we were like, yo, like, this is crazy. We're just like, when we saw the pilot, we were like, yo, this is actually lit. Like,
yeah.
We were just so happy. We were just like, yeah, this is gonna go off. And now
what I've noticed is, with animation, you have to be resourceful, because it's very time consuming, right? So I'm always looking for shortcuts. And I noticed, like, with the female characters, you have the same model, but just a different.
Yeah. You know, he's very smart. Like, the relationship we've got is very, very 100%. Like, where people don't notice, but it's like, you would notice, but a lot of people don't notice. We're cutting corners all the time. Like, with regards to background, with regards to characters, like, just trying to make it easy for him. But yeah, it's an amazing thing. Like, even me getting insight into the way animation works it's been beautiful, man. But I just rate, it's one of those things where it's like, I know I'll never be able to do it, but I rate it so highly. Like, the more insight I get to it, the more I rate it.
And I guess are you still kind of taking your time with it, or you're thinking, you know what, we can make this bigger? Like, what's your plans for the future? I guess for the is it season 2 that's coming to an end now?
Yeah. So season 2 coming to an end. Again, I'm trying to make it bigger and better. I had a conversation with the lads at the end of season 1, and I was like, listen, we're taking it to the next level. This is what we're doing. Here. Had a conversation with the animator as well. So if you see the motion in season 1 in comparison to season 2, like, he upped his levels. And I want to continue to do that. I want to make it longer. I want to make it more episodes.
And how long has it been running for? Like, the whole thing?
We only started in December. We did season 1 in December, and then we did season 2 at the beginning of July, basically. So only like 8 months in, but obviously a lot of production goes into that. So we started really well before December. Like, we started January last year, basically. First time doing
quite a lot of content though, isn't it? It's in that space of time. I don't know, from my perspective.
From December to now, we definitely have, but we were doing a lot before December, innit? We were doing, but from when it's come out, it seems like a lot of content has come out. And again, it was like we had conversations with each other about the turnover time as well, and how we could speed that up. So we're always trying to do that as well. So, like, our plans are to just make season 3 bigger and better, more creative, funny as always, and then, like, wherever it can go, man. Like, our dreams are endless. Wherever it can go, like, if it's gonna be on Netflix or on Amazon Prime or the BBC or even on YouTube, but just be like massive. Like that's it. And it's the snowball effect of Pass the Meerkat is just amazing. Like we just need more content because every single time we put out an episode, we're getting maybe 1,000 followers, 1,000 subscribers. Like it's mad, and it just keeps snowballing till it's getting higher. So like I just know the content is just so high. Like the conversion is so high. When we send out emails, the conversion rate of people that see it, that like it, it's extremely high. And
and what's the feedback like? What sort of people are watching this content, and what are they saying? What is it doing for them?
You know what? I was on the last thing I kind of did like this was like a workshop on race and trauma, and the girl who lovely young lady called Nessa who hosted the workshop, she was like, listen, keep passing this going. We need that. We need just black comedy, things that are going to make you feel comfortable and are just going to be funny. And that's it, basically. That's what I'm trying to do now. Like, I'm just trying to make content for black people that is going to make them happy, like intensely funny for like 15 minutes or 10 minutes. Like, and you can just, that escapism where you can just forget about any problems that are going on in your life and just indulge in this, and you know that it's going to make you happy for 15 minutes or whatever. Like, that's just amazing, man. Like, it's sick. It's a sick experience. It's a sick thing to have. Yeah.
And I guess, have you tried to push the envelope in terms of the complexity of topics you talk about? Because I'm quite new to the content. I've only seen a few episodes here.
I think we played around with this at the beginning, but again, it's just like the matter thing is, in season 1, we did record some serious topics, like more serious, deeper topics. It just wouldn't run with animation. Like, it's just like, we want it to be funny. And like, for the deeper stuff, me personally, I want to do stuff like this. I'm fully engrossed in psychology and mental health. So I get to talk about that stuff all the time. That's my outlet to talk about that. Sometimes I just want to do some shallow stuff that's going to be funny. Like, that's it. Like, I just want to enjoy myself. I just want to have fun. So I don't even want to do that for Pass the Meerkat. Like, I just want to keep it like intensely funny for 15 minutes. That's it. I just want to keep it.
That's good.
For all of my other serious stuff, and I do think you need to have a balance of both serious topics and shallow stuff, I can get that all over here. Like, I can talk about that. I can start a podcast, a mental health podcast, if I wanted to. That that's my aim, basically.
That's cool. I guess moving forward, as obviously we haven't even touched on music yet, man. That's a whole other thing as well. And I know you've dissected the way labels run and the music world quite well in like, was it Black Gals Living or something like that?
Yeah.
I think that about 2 years ago. And you dissected that pretty well. So I recommend the listeners to go check that out if you want to learn more about Deji's musical side. But in terms with Pass the Meerkat or just your creativity in general, what do you want to see? What sort of infrastructure do you want to see more in the creative industries among black people? Do you think we're still lacking some form of infrastructure in terms of how we empower each other, how we are aware of other black creatives, and like what sort of changes do you want to see, I guess, if that's something that's crossed your mind?
Again, like, it sounds so bad, but we need to copy the white structures and make our own. And we've kind of been doing that. Like, we've kind of been doing that slowly but surely. But we need white versions of the Jonathan Ross show, white versions of Graham Norton show, white versions of the One show, white versions of EastEnders, Coronation Street, white versions of, like, I'm saying
black. Obviously, yeah.
Everything I just said, put black in there.
Black.
We need black versions of all of those things. Like, those are going to be our platforms. At the moment, we've got things that are acting as platforms, but it's like they're almost a bit toxic. Like Shade Borough, UK Gossip. These are our platforms. These are the platforms that people actually go.
Even like Half-Cast podcast as well. Like, I think they do a great job, but like sometimes, I don't know, there's some episodes I'm watching, I'm like, are they just, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think there's this cancel culture, or just this thing we have of cutting each other down as black people and saying, you know, when we have black role models, we're very quick to critique them rather than empower them.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
think there's that
exactly. Yeah.
aspect.
We need the good and the bad, and we need to kind of. There's always room for criticism, and
Yeah,
if something's toxic to the culture, then we need to root it out quite quickly. But we do need to give each other a chance, and we do need to be lenient with each other. We need things like the Zizzy Mill show. We needed things like Backchat. I think Backchat ran its course, but we needed something like that. Like we need something of everything. We need something more intellectual as well. We need like the grapevine or whatever. Like we need everything basically, just so like loads of people have the opportunities. Like not all creatives, thousands or hundreds of thousands of creators are fighting for like one or two platforms.
true.
Like it just doesn't make sense. So we need all of these things. We needed a black comedy like Pass the Meerkat. Like there's a gap in the market for it. We need black podcasts. We need more of everything. And when these things come about, we need to promote them, even if it's like you might not indulge in it. Just because somebody else might, that's black, that's actually going to enjoy that, and that's going to be something significant for their lives. Like think about, it's crazy because back in the day, it's like we almost had more, especially in America. It's like we almost had more than we had now. Like I remember watching Trouble or Nickelodeon. We had Sisters, The Park, Fresh Prince, My Wife and Kids. Like all of these black shows, one on one. Like there's so many. Hyena, Keenan and Kel, like, and they're fully black shows. Like
even on Disney, there was That's So Raven and
So Raven, exactly. And you can tell like the whole cast, that the majority of 95% of the cast in these shows are black. Like 99%, they're black shows basically. Where's all of that gone? Like, where's all of that gone for all of us? Like, so when I was growing up as a child, we had like I've literally named like 8 shows already. Like that's crazy. Like we need more things that we can indulge in. So it's like we don't have to go and watch EastEnders or whatever. EastEnders was sick. Don't get it twisted. But we definitely need black stuff of everything. Like we need everything. Like we need news. I'm talking about everything. So that's my mindset of it. We need more platforms. Like all of these things are gonna act as platforms. Like
and like even in the world of animation, even when I grew up, I wasn't always fortunate enough to have the Disney channels, but I had a Nigerian friend of mine, and he had all the channels. You know, when those days, then you know you had that friend who had all the channels, and then, and then I remember like programs like Fillmore. I don't know if you remember Fillmore.
Nah.
So this like old Disney TV cartoon about this smart black kid. He was bald. He wore spectacles. Solving mysteries, and it's like, where is that now? You know.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think in terms of animation, what I want to see now is, I think, animation and comedy going hand in hand, and it's great. But I think animation is more sophisticated than that, and a lot of people just look at animation like it's a genre.
Yeah.
But I'm one of those people who says it's an art form, not a genre.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I even did my dissertation on black animators and their exploration of identities in the diaspora, and there's so many great independent animators who are very abstract and very artistic with the way they animate. There's this animator, I think she's called Mary Martin. She's Black British, and she did this amazing short animated documentary about when she was 4 years old and went to Nigeria, and she used like 1980s footage collaged with stop motion animation, and she had this like little doll she stop motion animated, and this collaging and some really good abstract short form content, you know, that I think gets swept under the rug. And you know, I think in terms of animation already, as black people, we're not very prevalent, but it's even more so when we're looking at independent filmmakers. There's something about the way we use visual metaphors that communicate our black experience in a way that people from various cultures can relate with. So, you know, we're using metaphors like animals and colors, and the way we use sound as well to match the visuals as well. That's something that I'm trying to develop in, and with this animation that I'm working on, I guess I do have quite a cartoony way of animating, I guess, by default. But I'm veering more into the abstract field now, and using like even one visual theme that I'm going to use in this animation is the idea of roots, right? And that the roots of our struggle as Black people are so deep. And I'm thinking of this concept of like, every time we try and use an unhealthy coping mechanism, we are deepening the stronghold of those roots of our suffering. And you can see the roots growing on their arms. You can see like if you're a Black person who's grown up in Britain and you felt the pressure of kind of taking your family to somewhere that your family's never been before. You're like, your parents have sacrificed a lot for you to be in this country. And you're like, if I don't make it in this country, I've let not only myself down, but my whole family down. And it kind of feels like everything is towering above you. Like, I'm using those visual metaphors, and I'm really pumped. And I think it's the start of an incredible journey of using art to delve deep into the mind of, various Black people. We don't all have the same experience, just even between me and you, we've got loads of differences. And I think that's one thing we need to get better at as well, is being bold enough to tell our individual stories. We're not all hip hop fans. We're not all funny. We're not, we're not all doctors or lawyers either. We're very unique and we're very different. And we don't have to carry this weight of, I have to always speak up for my Black brothers and sisters regarding political issues. Not everyone can be a spokesperson. If we're all individual, embrace our unique things and just be our authentic selves. Then that will help, I think, in terms of seeing the Black empowerment we want to see. So that's just my perspective. Like, is there anything you want to add to that?
Nah, man, that was beautiful, beautifully articulated, and I totally agree, like 100%. We need everything. We need all kinds of people, all kinds of platforms.
Cool. So, are there sort of any organizations you know about, or any, either through your counseling or through your artistic work, or any organization at all that is Black owned, that is supporting young Black people in any way that you would want to shout out and raise awareness?
Definitely No Signal. Loving what they're doing now. No Signal Radio. Like, again, we need everything. We needed a Black radio station. Such a gap in the market for it. Somebody came through, did it properly, and now it's there, and it's here to stay, and it's going to be bigger than, viewership was probably greater than the Capital Extras, and more targeted to Black people. So it's like, absolutely big up No Signal, absolutely amazing. They've been supporting us as well, so fantastic to them.
What about anything mental health wise?
Solutions, like a girl called Celine. She runs an amazing like initiative called Solutions, which is kind of like mental health for Black people. Go follow them on socials for sure. Nessa, she's got like a little charity called Inside Out, very similar to Solutions, where it's like they have talks and stuff. The Bit Network, which I'm part of, which stands for BME and Psychology and Psychiatry. We're all about having mental health discussions and getting people into the mental health field, like Black people into the mental health field, into psychology and psychiatry, helping students, helping professionals. We built a massive network. We're going to be having more events, hopefully getting bigger and better. And it's just nice, again, to have a load of Black professionals in the same field in one room. That's an amazing experience, having like a one topic and thinking about solutions. Like, we actually come up with solutions and helpful, practical solutions and stuff. So yeah.
And if you could send the link to those as well, and I can put that in the description for the podcast as well.
Well, those are my free at the moment. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. I think we've covered everything. Any last minute advice you want to give to any young Black people, especially at this time of lockdown, where obviously everyone's going through it mentally, but particularly us, we're hearing news about how we're more likely to get the disease as well. We're still at the bottom in many ways, but just what would be your words of encouragement and call to action?
I would say at the moment I'm in a space where I'm just telling everybody, listen, you don't know what life is going to throw at you. 2020 is a perfect example that something can happen in your life that you have no control over. Like, don't ever think you won't be made redundant. Don't ever think you can't lose your job. Don't ever think anything can't happen. And that can make people anxious. When you're in that space, it's just like, what's the point in planning for anything? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? When it could just be taken away the next day. Don't even tweak your mindset to think like that. That's very true, but don't tweak your mindset to think like that, because we need aspirations. We need stuff to aim for, like short-term goals, long-term goals.
And we have to be the change we want to see. We can't be waiting for any more magical role models to save us. We have to be the pioneers, but we also have to support each other. You know, it's not a lone wolf thing. We need each other.
So yeah, that, and if this lockdown is going to tweak your mindset into any way, or what's happening in 2020 tweaks your mindset into any way, let it be that, listen, like, every day you just need to strive for happiness for that day, and then the next day you go into the same battle again. Like, try to be happy every day. Like, I can say now, if God forbid my life got taken away today, there's still so much I want to achieve, but I can say I've enjoyed my life, and I'll come to terms with that. So just try to be happy. Like, just try to be happy at all times, like, as much as you can. Of course, it's never going to be possible to be happy 100% of the time. Life is full of ups and downs, but do whatever you can to make yourself happy, man. Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, Deji. And I'm going to keep supporting Pass the Meerkat.
Thank you.
Who knows? One day when it's big enough and you've got enough money to pay me, I'll join the group. But yeah, definitely, I'm a fan. I'm still supporting. I'm still watching.
Thank you.
Keep going. You're doing a great thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice. And to all those listening, thank you. Deji will give me the links, and check out the links in the description for the episode, so that you can use these resources and put our words into action. So thank you all for listening, and we're out.